Welcome back. March is Women's History Month and a great time to observe and highlight the contributions of women.
Celebrate the women on whose shoulders you stand. That's the topic of today's Motivational Monday feature. Our great friend, award-winning author Stacy Hawkins Adams is here to lead our conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Women's History Month.
Happy Women's History Month to both of you.
Thank you.
This is such a special time because, as we mentioned a little bit earlier today, there are so many women around us and who have gone before us,
yes,
who are truly and have truly paved the way and paid the price to lay such a foundation for women in our country and in our community. And so you're saying we need to unapologetically stand on their shoulders this month.
Absolutely. Stand on the shoulders of those that we can look at in the history books, many women that we study, the right to vote, the right to be in the workplace, all those rights that we have. We can think of those women in history. It is Women's History Month. But I'm also suggesting that we think about the women that helped shape our own personal history. So if we look over the course of our lives, who are those teachers who poured into us, the grandparents, the aunts, of course, maybe our mother, who are the women that poured into you, whether you're male or female, that gave you the life lessons, that helped you shape the values that you live by, that gave you the confidence to walk in who you are today.
Because if we really think about it, we are who we are because of all the folks who really just made us into who we are with their experience, with their examples. And there are many, many people that, even if we just start thinking about it and make that intentional thought, that made us who we are.
That made you who you are. And sometimes people do it from afar. So even as we think about the women that we want to reach out to, maybe say thank you for being the teacher. I always think about my 5th grade teacher, Alma Jackson in Arkansas. She sent a poem that I wrote about police officers to the local police station. And the police chief wrote me a letter back at age 10. So all those years before, people had known that I was a writer and had told me I was a great writer. But it was something about my teacher taking that act to send it to someone who told me I was making an impact. There really was a light bulb moment that, wow, this can make a difference. So whenever I go home, I always thank her. Oh, there goes my earring on live TV. That's making an impact that will be memorable. So what I want people to remember about this moment is how we are laughing.
Yeah, that's right.
Through my earring having a life of its own. Because the next thing I actually was going to say is people are watching us and we don't even know it.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
how do we handle the positive moments, the funny moments? I think this has probably never happened on live TV before.
But adding some levity to it, realizing that we, especially as women, if I told you about my morning and all the things that were going on, you still show up. You still put your best foot forward. You still laugh a little along the way because it's so important that we keep going. And we're often going and continuing for people other than ourselves. And I love what you were saying about those who have kind of helped to shape you. I was speaking with a cousin of mine yesterday and she said, you learn what you live. And the example that other people set for you is often, you take bits and pieces of that and it does shape who you become. And that's so important as we think about the women who have taught us little things along the way. The conglomeration of all of those women is who we've become.
Absolutely. And if we think about, we're in a challenging season for many people, so much going on in the world that is not positive. Who are those women that you can look to who in their own way survive challenging times, who now talk about those times? Or maybe there's someone you're watching now going through a challenging time in a way that can inspire you. So there are women around us that are shaping the history. It's present day, which will eventually become history. The way we live now will be our future. Our future will eventually be history. So how are we walking through those things? How are those women that we are looking at go through tough times, how are they doing it in a way that we're like, I don't think I can do this, but because I saw her do it, I'm going to live into a better future, which is creating a better history for myself.
And then we have that obligation too, that we are the next chapter.
Yes.
And how we are living is how we are creating that example for our children and for our communities.
Absolutely. I always say that, the talents and gifts we have, it's like an apple tree. An apple doesn't eat its own fruit. So we're bearing that fruit for other people. And how we live our lives, yes, it's for the self-care. I always talk about self-care, being your best self, being your most authentic self, being able to laugh at yourself. I'm really going to laugh when this segment is over. But what are the lessons that we learn through these moments? Like as we are living authentically as ourselves, hopefully something about what's happening in this conversation to this morning is bringing a smile to someone's face who woke up feeling really bad this morning, or someone who's like, when they are in a moment where they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening on a world stage, they can think about how other people have come through things like that. So even when we're not intentionally living for others, we are really impacting others as women. And we're doing that for men too. So I encourage men to think about the women who have poured into you, who have guided you, who have told you that they believed in you, and take some time to thank those women.
Yeah, you always remind us that we're not alone on the journey.
Absolutely.
And it's so important. And I think one thing I'll just add is leveraging our network and the people around us who have done things, who have overcome, and understanding if we take a little nugget from them and we take a reminder from them, we're always better people in the end.
Absolutely.
It's always good to be with you. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing gems that we can start our month off with.
And we are looking forward to already seeing you next time. Stacy offers weekly Motivational Monday emails. If you're interested in subscribing, you can visit StacyHawkinsAdams.com.
And there's much more in store for you to enjoy when Virginia This Morning returns after the break.